So we're going to talk about one of the basic fundamentals of Taoism. And through this course, you're going to be hearing a lot of Taoism thoughts. I've been studying with a Taoist monk for a number of years now, and it's totally changed my life. And Taoism, some people see it as a religion. I don't see it as a religion. I see it just as a way of controlling your thoughts, a way of thinking, a way of looking at things that's different, that's going to really change you in a great way. It's going to calm you. It's calmed me. It's made me a very different person in so many ways, and it's really helped me in my energy clinic in helping people and dealing with people. And one of the basic fundamentals of Taoism is the concept of expectations. And in fact, it is to not have expectations. When I talk to people, we shouldn't have expectations. A lot of people say, no, I don't have expectations. I go through life without them. But if you look at your behavior, if you look at your thoughts, I think you'll find that most everything that you do, most everything that we do is based on expectations. What are expectations? Expectations are beliefs that things should be a certain way. Expectations, for example, if you order food from your favorite restaurant, is that it should always be the same if you're ordering the same dish. Or if you go to see a movie by your favorite actor or actress, that it's going to have that same sort of flair, same sort of character to it. Expectations color everything we do. And so when we go into a situation, if we bring our expectations with us, it's like wearing a pair of glasses with a different color lens in it, so that we're going to see that situation through our expectations. And what we have to realize is that a lot of times, most of the time, what we're perceiving isn't reality. We're just perceiving what we expect. And so when we expect something, we actually stop listening. We actually stop looking. We take ourselves out of the situation. We go on autopilot for a second because we think we know exactly what's going to happen already. And that's the problem with expectations, is that we're no longer seeing reality. We're seeing what we think. We're just sort of filling in the blanks with what we think is going to have reality. And my Shifu, we were talking about anxiety one day, because most people, so many people are anxious these days, with what's going on with the world with so much uncertainty. And he said something that at first I didn't really grasp. But, as I'm prone to do, someone will tell me something and I'll just kind of take it in. I don't make any judgments and stuff. And I'll think about it later and let it filtrate through me. And he said that anxiety was the difference between our expectations and between reality. How's that for a thought? The difference between our expectations and between reality, or in other words, what's really going on. So a lot of times we have these crazy high expectations of ourselves. And I hear this all the time. So I was talking to someone recently, and they were confronted by someone. Okay, they're kind of surprised. So they're confronted by someone, and it had to do with a family member, and they felt attacked, surprised, attacked, and they reacted by kind of striking back at the person a little bit, defending themselves, striking back. And afterwards, they're really upset with themselves because they said, listen, I have these expectations that in these sort of situations I'm going to be calm and cool, and I'm not going to do stuff like I did. But I helped them I talked them through it. And the fact is that they were surprised. Right? So they didn't have time to prepare. They didn't have time to think, and it had to do with a family member that was vulnerable. And so their parental instincts immediately jumped to life. Right? And they had to go and defend that person. So for them to get mad at themselves for having these expectations that they would just be this perfectly logical being, this stone cold being in this sort of situation, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair to you, okay? And so it creates this anxiety. It can create this anxiety, this difference between what we expect and what's really happening. So one of the things that I talk with people about, and my Shifu asked me to do this, was to examine ourselves, right? Examine ourselves and find out what expectations do we have. What expectations do we have floating through our brain about everything? So that's one of your homework assignments this week, is going to be to journal this kind of stuff. But as you go through the day and you interact with different people, you go to different events, it could be family members, it could be work, you're going in with certain expectations. And I want you to analyze them. Are they realistic or not? Are you being fair to yourself? Are you being unfair to others? Let's say that you have this crazy high expectations of someone else, maybe someone you hold in really high esteem, right? Or someone you idolize. You're holding them to these crazy high standards, but they're human, right? Everybody can have a bad day. Same with you. You could normally be, very nice and cool and calm-headed, but you just have an off day. And then when that happens, you can't get mad at the other person. You can't get disappointed with them, right? And you can't get mad with yourself. I often talk about, I took this online course with a fellow who I really love. I see him on social media. His name is Grant Cardone, and he's like a business dude, but he's into self-development and helping people. And when times I feel down, I find he picks me up. But I found that I built these really high expectations for him, that he would always be this caring, giving person. And I watched this training with him, and he started doing all these sales techniques and hardcore selling. The fact is, that's what he is, right? He's a sales guy. I mean, that's what he's famous for, sales and marketing. And he does it, so he actually teaches people how he does it. But I had this crazy high expectation of him, and I was so depressed after the event. I'd spent a weekend watching this thing, and I was actually just depressed for a week because he didn't live up to my expectations. Right? And how unfair is that to me? It's so unfair to me, because I heard the other people talking about it and they loved it. There were so many great things he taught, but I couldn't see through it because of my expectations. And how unfair to him. So are you being fair to yourself? Are you being fair to others? So what I'd like us to do, my Shifu talks about this all the time, is we have to release expectations. It's challenging. It is challenging at the start, because so much of our world, so much of our day, of every single action, is affected by these things, by expectations. So when I talk about your homework, we'll be talking about this. But I really want you to go through and look at your day and see what expectations you have. This is a challenge. This is a challenge. So let this message sink in. We'll certainly be talking more about these. But remember that one of the core basics of Taoism is to not have expectations. So whenever you go into a situation, you treat that situation like it's the first time you've ever been in that situation. What I'm going to tell you is that if you're feeling down or bored or stuck, a lot of that is because you have these certain expectations. What would happen if you just removed those expectations? And the next time you went for a walk outside with your dog, right? Or you went for a bike ride, now the weather's getting nicer here in Canada, or anything you do, you remove the expectations and you just look at it with new eyes, like fresh eyes, like a baby. Right? When we're kids, right? Everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Everything's like so new because we don't have those expectations. So that's the message for this week. Think about those expectations. Now you can check out the homework below.